Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video I am going to be doing the rapid growth category Super Battle Road stage. And yeah, we've gone with somewhat of an interesting build here. We have the Universe 6 Saiyans under the lead of Kefla and her rapid growth category, along with a friend LR, Gohan and Krillin unit, who obviously are 130% lead for the rapid growth category. And then we also have, used the free-to-play Krillin and Vegeta unit for the rapid growth category. Honestly, just tried to do something a bit different. Tried to incorporate multiple different units so you can get an idea of who will be good on the rapid growth category. To just give you guys some ideas on just how the teams work in general and things like that. Obviously, one of our main rotations will be the Strength Kale alongside the Tech Caulifla. The Strength Kale obviously has guarding against all types. When she is alongside the Tech Caulifla herself has a very high level of evasion due to the fact that we have quite a few Universe 6, Pure Saiyan and Pepe Gals category units on the team. That obviously increases her performance. We have the Easy Aid Caulifla, who is a very, very solid unit. She has the ability to counter and evade super attacks and normal attacks, and she also raises her defense significantly on her super attacks, so she's a very good floating option. We have the LR, who's going to be linked up with the free-to-play unit. They don't necessarily link up that well at all, which is probably one of the most bumming things about the combination of units. But they will be a decent enough pairing, and we're just doing this more so as an experiment than anything else. So Krillin over here, the free-to-play Krillin, obviously has a decent level of evasion. Every single evasion or evading of an attack that he does will raise his defense, which is obviously very good. He also has the transformation into the Vegeta unit, which is super duper helpful. So that will give us more health, along with also just increasing his damage and defensive output. We have the Kefla. She's going to be floating for the most part, just because that allows us to kind of feed her orbs when we need to obviously get her full passive active. And then of course also she'll be a decent damage dealer as a floater. And the defensive viability of having Caulifla and having Kale in the same turn cannot be overstated enough. These two essentially are a free turn. They don't do a lot of damage, especially when not facing Pure Saiyan's enemies, but they are very, very strong. And you can see here that we get the clutch evasion. So the reason Caulifla is not evading everything is because we obviously have units that are not Pure Saiyans or Universe 6 units or Pepe Gals units. So we are, kind of essentially running her under less favorable conditions than we usually would. But she will still have a very high enough level of evasion that we should be fine. And you can see there that we obviously just took the turn, relied on the evasion, and that does help. So the thing here is obviously just with Krillin. So Krillin doesn't link well with Krillin. Who knew? But basically they went with a very Krillin orientated link set for the free-to-play unit, whereas they went with a more Gohan orientated link set with the Gohan and Krillin unit, or a more hybrid link set I should say. Their active skill does help with their key problems a little bit, but it doesn't really overcome the fact that they have a terrible linking partner. And this is probably the first thing I would change on this team. If you are going to run the Gohan and the Krillin LR unit, you need to find a better linking partner for them. The free-to-play unit's just not great, and it basically was a very large hindrance this entire time. The Gohan and the Krillin LR are exceptionally good. Just when you cannot obviously get their full capabilities, when you're not getting super attacks all the time, it's kind of an issue and reduces their effectiveness quite a bit, or quite substantially I should say. So yeah, I would definitely suggest to anyone who is running this team or plans on running this team that you do not basically roll with the Krillin combo, and that you instead change it up. But Gotenks is a very, very good floating unit as well. Very defensively sound. Obviously brings his ability to stun to the table, which is super helpful. Does essentially really help out utility wise, and kind of prevents us from taking too much damage. They've done like the planning for this stage so that you don't fight Pure Saiyans or Universal Survival Saga units. It's been designed that way so that you can't just blaze through the entire thing with Universe 6 based teams. Obviously units like the LR, Kale and Caulifla, Caulifla, they all have benefits that kind of beef them up when they're facing Pure Saiyans units. And so obviously for the most part they've tried to reduce that element in the stage so they're not the automatic go-to. And that's kind of why I've done this hybrid cross team, to show that you can still function with either side of the build. Preferably I would still go full Universe 6. It's just a higher leader skill overall, running double Kefla. And I just think the overall offensive output of Kefla is just very, very high. And I think that's really needed here. Obviously, as you can see, we're fighting Master Roshi and I forget his name now, but we're fighting the Crane style Tien's original sensei. I'm so bad with the name. I remember them outside of the videos, but the moment I have to remember a name inside of the video, I am absolutely shocking. I don't know what it is, but yeah, basically, as you can see here, we do have Master Roshi. We're not fighting Saiyans, so we do again not have the full benefit of the Universe 6. And if you just have the LR, Krillin and Gohan, you can throw them under the double Kefla team. They're a fantastic floater. Obviously the first turn they do struggle, but remember they can activate their active skill from their second turn out, and they'll be able to activate it after they exchange / change their outfit or whatever the mechanic is. So essentially they will be able to have decent attack stats and fire off their ultra super attack in 2 out of the 3 turns that you'll probably see them in. If you go any further, they'll still probably be able to fire off super attacks. So it is, they are still a very, very good floating option. Just as I said, I would probably just stick to the tried and tested Universe 6 method, just because honestly it's just way better. The output is way higher. You get the full benefit of Kale and Caulifla's passives, which help. Caulifla won't be hit, Kale will be hitting a lot harder, and also will have higher defense. You can run units like Physical Kale, who's very, very good, and you could still run units like Gotenks or like the LR, Krillin and Gohan as a floating unit, and still see a lot of really good work out of them. So yeah, from my side, I think that's the one thing that I would definitely say I would change, is I would probably orientate the entire team around Universe 6, just because you see much better performance overall. But at the same time, the free-to-play Krillin and Vegeta unit does do very well. I don't want to downplay how well the free-to-play Krillin and Vegeta unit does very, very well, just in terms of the stage and everything like that. So for me, I honestly was very, very happy with how they did, and I think overall they are definitely a unit that is a viable option. They just seem to lack a linking partner, but maybe as a floater they'll be okay. They could be a viable floating unit, but I can't really comment too much on it. It's very difficult to say that they'd be a great floating unit. Their link set is very, very poor for a Universe 6, or even just a rapid growth team in general, unless you've got them specifically linking up with the Vegeta after they perform their exchange mechanic. It's generally just not entirely worth it. So yeah, it is honestly just one of those things that you do just need to factor in. But yeah, it's not really the end of the world. As you can see here, we're going to obviously finally be able to take out the AGL Master Roshi, which is something we do sorely need to do. And then the Kefla hopefully will take out the Crane Hermit. And yeah, but obviously, just looking at the team, it's doing quite well so far. We're unfortunate in the sense that we're just going to miss the Dokkan attack this turn, which, would help, but we're not going to be able to kill the Crane Hermit this turn, which means we're unfortunately not going to be able to save the Dokkan attack for the third round. Obviously, would have been a very, very nice little buffer, a nice way to essentially, get that stage done really, really quickly. And we could have got it if we'd got an additional attack or something along those lines. So yeah, we're a little bit unfortunate on that end, not to just get that additional super attack. We then do a very risky strategy by trying to not essentially get super attacks or anything like that. You can see here I try my very best to distinctively not get super attacks, which in hopes that we would get an additional to essentially take out the Crane Hermit, and it does almost backfire, but it pulls through, and so we've retained the Dokkan attack for the next phase, which is really, really helpful, except for the fact that it's only again against 2 enemies in a game. They're not Saiyan enemies, so you can see that the stage has been designed to prevent the full power of Universe 6 Saiyans from showing. Of course, we don't have like a massive damage dealer on this rotation, so the Dokkan attack's not going to be able to one-shot the enemy or anything, but it'll be nice to get good starting damage on these enemies overall. So I think that's very good, obviously, from that aspect. And yeah, realistically, we're just gonna see how it goes. It should all be fine. Obviously, our damage has been pretty low so far throughout the stage, just because we haven't had the full benefit of having the LR Krillin and Gohan firing off super attacks all the time. They haven't really got additionals or criticals or anything, and yeah, similar with the Krillin and Vegeta unit, not really outputting a lot of damage as a free-to-play unit. And of course we have the mixed lead skill with the 170%, the 170% Universe 6 / 150% rapid growth category lead, and then also obviously having only the 130% rapid growth lead across the board. So we did kind of reduce our stats there as well, but getting some very good evasion out of Caulifla, always super helpful. Gotenks himself, very, very good. Obviously not transformed here, which is a bit of a shame. Obviously spends his first turn in his base form. Next time we get him, we'll have the stunning and the additional defense, so he'll be pretty solid. But we have a decent amount of items. We still have some items and everything, so we should be okay, more than fine to go. And yeah, we should be able to maintain control of the battlefield and keep everything moving along nicely. As you can see, showing itself again is that key problem that we've been having. It's really just preventing us from getting that little bit of extra damage in, getting all the benefits of the Krillin and Vegeta unit as well. And again, you can see there no real damage from the Kefla unit, so pretty poor turn, and it's just literally because of that poor linking, that inability to link really well, just preventing us from getting 2 attacks off, which really would improve our offensive output. So the way the team is currently built is very bad from a constant level of output, and because we're not getting crits on super attacks, we're not getting additional super attacks with the friend lead. It's not necessarily worth it. So definitely be careful depending on what units you're using or what team you're running. But you're going to need to make sure that you're getting super attacks, because you are fighting 2 enemies a lot. And the way Super Battle Road works is the more enemies, the less health each enemy has, and the less damage each enemy does slightly. So when you're only fighting 2 enemies, it's kind of an awkward situation, because both enemies are usually relatively tanky. They usually, are somewhat strong, somewhat powerful. They can do decent damage, and you kind of have to essentially choose whether to kill both at the same time or just to take one out. I generally prefer taking one out. It's usually the route we like to go with things. So definitely prefer that route. As you can see, finally being able to take out the Grandpa Gohan really helps. Now you can kind of focus all your effort into taking out and I had a name, Anin, the Anin unit, who obviously is the remaining unit left. Hopefully we can get these done with Gotenks, which would help us quite a bit. We have the active skill now this turn as well, so we don't have to stress too much about ki or things like that. But it is definitely something that we do just need to be aware of. We do need to somewhat control the fight. We are getting to the point where we don't have a lot of items left, so we do need to make the most conscientious choice here. You can see contemplating whether to use the transformation. We won't use it just yet because we can get the super attack off, and Vegeta does somewhat lose a little bit of his viability defensively. So we still also have an item active, so there's no real need to kind of YOLO in. Rather use the heal from the transformation or the exchange to heal up the damage that we take next turn, and run with it that way. We finally get a double super attack from the LR, which is obviously very, very good, helping to output some good damage. And Krillin himself, super helpful. Would be nice if he got a stun. He does, so that is also clearly very helpful. Krillin hasn't really stunned this entire run either, but he's also missed a couple of super attacks, so it is difficult to say whether he could have or couldn't have stunned or any situation like that. Obviously Krillin's stun is just a temporary stun for 1 turn, so you do have to be aware that you're going to take a fair amount of damage if you are supered by Anin at this point. But we should have this battle under control now. This is a very strong defensive rotation, and she's supered the correct unit, so Kale with her damage reduction and everything is a very, very, very solid unit. Doesn't let us down. Very, very powerful defensively. So we're managing to start doing some serious damage. Kefla will come in and do some very good damage as the floater. And at this point we are relatively safe. We don't get the attack off there, and we do take quite a significant amount of damage. We don't really get the evasion off, but we do still have the heal, so we'll use that active skill just in case, to obviously just kind of give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. Rather use the heal and get the health back, and then we should be able to finish Anin off. And that's basically the rapid growth category. So realistically not the hardest stage, but there are some things you need to follow when building the team. There are some changes you can make, especially to this team, that would probably net off a better result overall. So I just think there are definitely better ways to function the team. But we'll finish off with LR Gohan and Krillin here. And but otherwise leave a comment down below. Leave a like on the video if you are enjoying the content, and let me know how you handled the rapid growth stage. How did you find it? What team did you run? What units did you use? And but other than that, guys, thanks for watching, As always, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care and bye.